we'll go over how independent freight dispatchers get paid. So please, again, if you have questions, let me know. So I will just share those comments on my screen so that, I'll do my best to help you guys out. So please, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. This is the channel where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, trucking in general, transportation, more specifically, how to become independent freight dispatchers. Welcome. This is, as I said, again, the second live Q&A session. So I prepared a slide for you guys. We'll be going over how dispatchers get paid. But if you guys have questions, we'll start with your questions and see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. So while we're waiting on the questions, let me share my screen, and then we'll be going over the how dispatchers get paid. I think this is the one of the problems independent freight dispatchers have, or the future, or I would say prospective independent freight dispatchers. They really get confused about how they get paid, because I think one of the major problems is that they confuse about truck dispatchers and independent freight dispatchers. In the last Q&A session, we talked about this, that truck dispatcher is a business opportunity. Truck dispatcher is an employment opportunity, and independent freight dispatching is a business opportunity. So thus the system will be used, how to get paid will be different. So let me share my screen with you guys, and then we'll be going over this slide. So this is the slide that I prepared for you guys. And if you don't know what are the differences between truck dispatcher and independent freight dispatcher, please watch the live video or Q&A session that we did about a couple days ago. So truck dispatcher, basically we'll touch here is that it's an employment opportunity. This, dispatcher is no different the 9-to-5 job. So it's a paycheck to paycheck. Independent freight dispatching, obviously, it's a business opportunity where you have your company, and then you hire other independent freight dispatchers, and you're offering your, independent freight dispatching services to carriers. So we have two options, right? So, and again, coming back to this employment model where it's pretty basic, right? So you work for a carrier. It could be 9 to 5 from Monday through Friday, and then you get paid based on the hours you worked, and then you will get your paycheck. So we'll be focusing specifically on the independent freight dispatching. Again, welcome. So let me tag a couple of questions and see. Let me see. Let me go back real quick. So that there are questions coming in. So we have a question from Yasir. He says, what is the best way to negotiate with brokers? Some useful tricks and I would say tactics. Yeah, absolutely. Yasir, here's the deal. When you're talking to a broker, and obviously one thing is that this load must be moved, right? So in broker's mind, we need to move. So when it comes to negotiation, there, we teach this, in detail in our course, where there should be a reason why you're asking, for example, and why you're calling. And it's not about just, when you call the broker and you start talking about, why am I calling here? I know you want to move this freight. It's not about that. What I'm, talking about is the theory. So how it goes, there should be a reason. Right, and then there should be the hook reason, and then there should be an offer. Hook it where you give something that the information, I would say, that broker relies on you, that yes, he trusts you, and then he says, okay, I think in his mind while he's on the phone, he's thinking, okay, I think we can do this with this carrier. This is basically what's happening in his mind. So there should be hook, and then there should be a reason, and then obviously there should be an offer. And what I see a lot, that when people calling, these carriers, and say brokers, they're asking for more money. For example, if this load, picks up Atlanta, Georgia, and then goes to Houston, Texas, and let's say for simplicity purposes, it's $5,000 load, and then beginners, I would say, or amateurs will be saying something like, can you do maybe 5,500, for example? And what do you think in his, in broker's mind, what's happening, right? So it's not the I'm not saying that it's you cannot do this, but obviously you can ask for more. But there is a method, right? There is a hook, there is a reason, and then obviously there is an offer. Whereas using this method, which is hook, reason, offer, you just say, hey, I see that your load posted on on DAT, for example, and it picks up in Atlanta, Georgia, and delivers in Houston, Texas. Well, I have a truck available. That is the hook. Now the broker thinks differently. Oh, okay. We have this truck, so he really wants to move this, freight. Load. And what happens is that you just told him that you have available truck, right? It's a very basic, but it really powerful and it works. And then, can you tell me more about this freight? Conversation continues, and then he will be saying, yeah, this is the weight, this is the height, for example. More information about what is it, the load, and then obviously you will be asking something which is the offer. But before the offer, we have to give them a reason. For example, right? Hey, you said something like, I have a truck available in Atlanta, Georgia. We can pick it up today by 2 o'clock, right? I'll pick it up, today by 2 o'clock, and then we'll deliver within 2 days safely, right? So that is the reason for your. So now we're about to pitch that you're asking more for this load. But what happens is that we prepare this broker. What will happen then is, okay, so you will pick up this by 2 o'clock, for example. I'm just giving, throwing out some numbers just to make this, like, so that you can understand, right? So I'll pick it up, this load 2 o'clock today, and then deliver within a couple of days. What I would say within 2 days safely. For example, would you do 5,500? Now, see, this is a different approach. Whereas on the option one, for example, we just say, hey, can you do 5,500 without no reason? We teach this in detail, but this is one of the tactics that is powerful and works, right? And obviously you need to have, when you're starting out, with maybe a script that can help you start talking to brokers. But this is the one of the tactics that you can use. I hope it helps. Okay, Yasir Chaknan. Okay, so let's go and take a couple of more questions. Radial Margaret says, is there a way to start your own dispatch service with your own MC without buying a truck? In other words, starting your own dispatch office using your own authority. So it's a great question, Rydell. But here's the thing: when you say MC number, it's actually motor carrier number, right? That's what it stands for, MC number. So when you have your MC number, then you must have a truck to haul. Basically, that there's maybe ways that you can do this, but I have a couple of ways that you can do this. But think about this: the motor carrier is actually you becoming a carrier. So rather than becoming a carrier, so if you really wanted to dispatch other trucks, then why don't you just become an independent freight dispatcher, have your own office, hire people, and then offer your services to carriers? Let carriers do the job. And most people, I think, they're really interested in buying trucks, maybe so maybe they like big trucks and hiring drivers, but it's a liability. That's what I'm trying to say. So the less liability, the more money you make. Okay, so it's a good, great question. So let's go to Angela. She asked this question: do you need an LLC first starting out? Well, we have this concept. I would say proven concept, right? So you must have a proven concept. We had this conversation today, with the coaching students in a live Q&A session, that one of my students, he didn't have the LLC, but now he has a carrier. But this carrier, he's still waiting on his insurance. So the question was, Kamal, can I dispatch, but I don't have my LLC, which is I don't have my company? And I said, well, this is the proven concept. Now you prove the concept, right? You're not building your business first, then going out, looking for carriers. But then you find the carriers, and then they're ready to, work with you. Then what to do it? So Basically, it must happen simultaneously, meaning you should be creating your LLC and start marketing. By that time, everything should be ready to go, meaning your online presence, your email marketing and everything. But I would say your marketing should be there. Creating an LLC, especially if you're in the United States, it's very easy. It takes a couple of weeks to get up and running with your LLC. But if you are trying to do, let's say, you're going after, like, hey, I want to create my company and start that way. What we recommend is that, hey, prove the concept first, find the carriers while you're getting up and running, and apply for an LLC. Well, absolutely. The to your question is that you do need LLC because of the nature of this business, and we talked about the beginning of this live Q&A call is that there's difference. There's a huge difference between truck dispatcher and independent freight dispatcher. So, hope this helps. Let me see if we have more questions. Um, Okay, so let me take this question. Okay, so Mohammed, he says, I would like to take the class. If you would help me, that I would appreciate. Absolutely. So we do help our students, and it's not about Mohammed. It's not about that you just purchased a course and then you just left alone. It's more about community. This is what we built, and this is why we created weekly Q&A calls. So you have the training from A to Z, right? Like, think about, we have almost 13,000 students, and we put everything in this training. So it's from A to Z, your negotiations, your script, everything you need to get up and running with your business is the information side of it that we have. It's the training portal. Then on top of that, we have the implementation part of it. This is why we created weekly Q&A calls, and we have Mondays at 12 p.m. and then on Thursdays 3 p.m. where we support our students. Calls can go from anywhere from 1 hour up to 4 hours. We talked about almost everything in the Q&A calls, meaning helping students. We talk about marketing, customer acquisition. We share what works for us, and then we share with our students. So yeah, absolutely. So hope that helps. Let me see. So let's see. Yesterday, thank you so much. That was useful. Yeah, you're welcome. So let me see. Okay, let me pull this real quick. Akbar says, Sir, what should I do? Learn to become a truck dispatcher. So, Akbar, you have two options. Basically, you have two options. One option is free, obviously, this YouTube channel, and then there may be other channels that you are watching and learning from other people. And obviously, it really takes time, right? So you need somebody that trains you. I'm not pitching my programs or whatever, but I do have this channel, and as you can see, I support my subscribers. I have my email list, I have students, so we support as much as we can. But if you really wanted to do it, like if you're really serious about, then I would say joining the programs, like people will be training you. But when you going after enrolling into the programs, but be careful, you're not just buying an information. Do your research and ask this course or program owner, or I would say mentor or coach, that, hey, do you guys have support, for example, email support? Do you guys have community where I can get networking with other carriers and independent freight dispatchers? And obviously, if I have questions, do you guys have Q&A calls, for example? And obviously you need that. So this model, when you join the program and then the coach or the mentor helps you, then you will get there really fast. So let's see what we have. So let me pick questions. Okay, Mohammed says thank you. Okay, let me pull this question real quick. There you go. Kirill says, could you tell us excuse me, some tips on how you analyze market and how you figure out where to send drivers and not to get stuck. Thanks in advance. You're welcome. So Kirill, here's the thing. There's some tactics when you're using load boards, but I'm not into using load boards 100% because my business model is totally different. Since you're starting out, I will just keep it simple. Why I say it's different, because we have our own direct shippers. So we use load boards less than 5%. So usually it will be for backhaul, right? So when you're starting out, for example, again, we had this question today. One of my students asked, "Hey," he said, "Kamal, I have a box truck, and then my carrier, he's located in Florida, but there's not much of the freight or loads for the box truck. What should I do?" And I said, "Hey, there's a tactic inside the load board. So what load board are you using?" And he said, "It's a DAT Power." I said, inside the DAT Power, what you can do is modify your searches. For example, if it's a 26 box truck, and then if it's less than or 10,000, the limitation that you have 10,000 or less, then on the search, when you're modifying your searches, put 10,000 on a weight, and then, or I would say not more than 10,000, right? So you need below 10,000, and then on the feet it goes 26. So the one tactic that I shared with him, it changed his business. And what he was using origin, and he was putting the destination, and he was limiting himself, right? So I said, remove the destination, just leave it as just blank. Just put your origin as a Florida, let's say Tampa, Florida, and then do not put anything on the destination. Just hit search and see what happens. And the next Q&A call, he came to us, and then he said, "Kamal, this thing changed," because he didn't know that he can do this. Now he has more options. Now you have more options. Now you can pick and choose states to see which state paying like better than other states. And we have, with load boards, we use this like inbound and outbound the loads. So for example, there may be thousands of loads coming into Atlanta, Georgia, but maybe there's like 500 loads going out. That means when you're booking a load to Atlanta, Georgia, yes, it pays good, but then you must know that when you gets there, then there's only 500 loads, but we have about 4,000 trucks. It's like supply and demand. So this is how we analyze the market. But basically, searching these states, which one pays more, the one. And then second thing is that like inbound and then outgoing loads ratio, that really helps. So this helps. Let me see. Okay, so Mohammed says thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so let me take. Robert says 3 recommendations for beginners. Like 3 recommendations for beginners as far as what? For example, this is very generic question. As far as starting, as far as negotiation goes, as far as load board goes. Please be specific, Robert. But I would say just hustle, and again, and hustle, and never give up. That's the recommendation I have for the generic questions. But be specific, and I'll do my best to help you out. So let's see what we have. Okay, so another question from Kirill. He says, "How to build a relationship with a broker?" Well, obviously, when you start, dispatching and working with the brokers, and obviously, what I teach inside of the program is that you always, update this broker and be nice to your brokers. Obviously, when you're starting out, you really depend on brokers, right? The communication is the key, right? You basically, this broker or brokers give you the job you need, right? So the communication, I think, in this case, it's really important. Being like easy to your brokers. They have business too, right? So yes, we have this. Um, we say carriers like, hey, they have their own cuts, but we need to eliminate the middleman and etc. But at the end of the day, he does his job right by marketing, going after the shippers. And I have import export business, and I work with direct shippers, and I can like, it's really hard to get them on board. Trust me, it's not an easy process to get those carriers on board. I mean, the shippers on board as a broker, for example. But your broker, does this for you, right? He goes after the shippers and he wins this contract, and obviously it's fair to get his cut and then give you the loads, for example. And that being said, communication, talking to your brokers, updating. For example, if we have a couple of loads from a broker, we do constant updates. For example, hey, let's call the broker name Mike, for example. Hey Mike, we picked up the load from Atlanta, Georgia. Boom, email sent. And then driver, he drives, let's say he's in Louisiana, he goes to deliver in Houston, Texas, for example, and we just send another email saying, hey Mike, he's passing Louisiana. And then you just say, hey, thank you, I appreciate that. This is how you build a relationship with brokers. So hope this helps. Let me go back and see what are the questions. Okay, so Renee says, brand new to all of this, I feel so lost. Okay, when you're starting out, anything new, it really scares people because it's new, and this fear of losing or fear of I think, yeah, that fear of, I think, failing things, it always will be there. It will just kicks in every time you think about something new. But hustling, as I said, there was a question like, what would be 3 recommendations? Hustle, 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 and never give up, right? And then another thing is that most people asking me these questions like, Kamal, should I work for a carrier first, then create my business? I would say, well, create your business and let your business teach you, right? And learning as you like doing it, right? So tell me why you lost. If you have specific questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you. So, okay. So, Kirill, what's the price for your course? So I have the links before, the below this video. Please check them out. So there are a couple of links that you can check. So there are some links for the joining our Facebook group. Please join the Facebook group as well. So let me see. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me have this question. Jack says, hey, do you use DAT weekly market conditions or waves tools to predict market movement in hot states? As I said, Jack, we have our direct shippers. We use load boards less than 5%. You can use that, but I don't do that. And the reason why I don't do this is I don't think numbers are accurate. For example, I'll give you an example. The last 15 days broker to carrier pays, for example, from Atlanta to Houston, Texas, right? From Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas. If you have a DAT load board, you can just log in and see right now it should be somewhere $1,700, about $2,000. It's like last 15 days is, what they're paying, meaning brokers to carriers. But think about, we have loads, like I can share these numbers. We have loads like 4,000, 5,000 from Atlanta to Houston, Texas. Like, are these numbers like for partial loads? Are these numbers for full load or combined? See, those are the things I don't think it's accurate numbers, and I don't use that. So I do, as I said, based on searches, I do, my research that way, but I don't do any market conditions. Hope this helps. So Kirill says, thank you. You're welcome, Kirill. Let's see what we have. Let me have this question. Okay, it's really hard to pronunciate this, but do we really need business license for dispatch? Okay, I got my LLC, but I don't know what kind of license do I need. For example, license, like you need business license. And again, I don't know if you're in states or maybe you're out of state. For example, in Georgia, we must have a business license, and then in Florida, I know they're, business license. when you say license, most people get confused about like dispatching license, or is there any certification attached to being an independent freight dispatcher, for example. There isn't any, I would say, required, I would say, certification, or you must be a licensed independent freight dispatcher. No, but you must have your LLC, I mean, your business license attached to your LLC. And I don't know if you did yourself or did you hire somebody. For example, there are some out there, the resources how you can create your LLC. One of them is LegalZoom. I think another one is InkFile. They will, help you out with, getting licenses for your LLC. So, okay. So let me have this. Okay, Nur Haji says, I have trained. Okay, and I really appreciate this channel. Okay, thank you. So, okay. So Renee says, do I start with subscribing to load boards? Okay, so there are two types of load boards. Well, I use DAT Solutions products. DAT Solutions is it's a company, and then they have subscription levels. There is Trucker's Edge Pro, right, and then there is a DAT Power Load Board. So one of them, the Trucker's Edge Pro is about $100. It's about $99.95, and then the DAT Power Load Board is about $150. So you can subscribe to the load boards, and and there are links below this video. You have 30-day free trial. You can just play around, but you must have your LLC when you buy in the subscriptions. There is an option with the Trucker's Edge Pro signing in online using the link, right? So they're easy process, but you must have your LLC, meaning your dispatching company, because they will be verifying you. So are you a independent freight dispatcher? So on the other hand, we have DAT Power Load Board. It's more advanced tool to use. You can definitely subscribe, but you must call in. And if you wanted to get 30-day free trial, then you mention my name, and then they will able to help you out. Yeah, you need load board subscriptions. So hope this helps. Let me have Dave. So your question is, hey, what is the current state of dispatching? Okay. Is it going going down or up? Is load board apps gonna destroy dispatching service? Well, think about like CPAs, uh, accountants, for example. They have apps, and we as a business owners, they're almost every day, software is popping up, like easy to use, user friendly, and we can run, for example, QuickBooks, right? It's very easy. And if you don't know about the QuickBooks, a financial tool for the business, you just, Google it and you can see it's, I think the most popular one is the QuickBooks. And now we have these tools, but it's different when professionals using it, right? And like I have, several businesses, but I don't do accounting. I don't do bookkeeping because I don't know that side of the business. I would rather prefer paying, premiums for the person or the team that who can handle this for me, right? This is where it comes being an in the business or on the business. But what I teach is being an on the business. So you need to hire people. If you don't know something, then hire people, right? They know more than you do. For example, using this financial tool, which is QuickBooks. So I have my CPA, and she's using it, and she's helping me grow my businesses. So I just pay for her, right? And she has a company, which is contracted. So I don't think the apps can destroy. And again, maybe when you say apps, maybe you mentioning something like DAT. They have apps and owner operators using this app. They don't need independent freight dispatchers, but join my team, and then you'll realize that people really need independent freight dispatchers. They need their help. Why? Because think about owner operator. Owner operator is the guy who owns the truck and he operates his truck, right? So think about this guy. He picks up load and he's securing his load and he's delivering his load. He's busy, right? And then he need help, external help to run his business. And obviously, you don't want to work with people who just stays with one truck and says, "Hey, I'm fine. I have one truck and one truck and trailer. I don't need any help." Well, that's fine. But if you really wanted to grow and become a fleet owner, that's the different thing. Now you're focusing on scaling your business, and you need people. So independent freight dispatch has been always there and will be there, and I don't think it will be destroyed. So, Dave, please think positively. So let's see what we have. Yes, Kamal, if you want to train, I'm working. How can I get DAT power? Okay, let me have this. Nur Haji says, yes, Kamal, if I'm trained, okay, and I'm not working, how can I get DAT power? So you trained means somebody trained you and you know how to dispatch. Okay. So you're not working being like, what do you mean? Do you mean you're not working as an employee for the carrier or you don't have your business, right? So if you don't have your business, then getting a DAT power, you won't be able to get a DAT power because you need your dispatching company so that they can verify you as a dispatcher and then give you the access. So you must have LLC. So let me see. Okay. 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 Thank you. Well, you're welcome. So let's see. We have another question. So let's have Akbar. He says, so what do you think? How many times I need to learn DAT load board? I'm beginning of this. Okay. So you're saying basically that, hey, Kamal, I'm new, but obviously, Akbar, there is a learning curve, right? So always will be if you're new. DAT load, but if somebody can train you, dispatching side of it. When I say dispatching, there three components, and I mentioned this in other videos and live sessions that there are three components to dispatching: finding a load, meaning using the load boards, and then booking the load, meaning talking to brokers actually. The booking process with the brokers so that you can get the rate confirmations. And then the dispatching is where you have your rate confirmation and then you're actually dispatching to the driver. So you have these three components, and we refer to this as like complete one term is like dispatching, right? So that dispatching part of it you can learn within a couple of days, right? If you have a mentor or coach, and then he can train. But you have, well, I think I have a about hour and a half video like how to use load board. So if you just follow through, watch that video a couple of times and take notes, you're fine, right? And you have a 30-day free trial. You can start just playing around. It's not going to take that much time when you starting out. But when it comes to business aspect of it, meaning you creating your business, that a totally different story, right? So it will take, I think it's a continuous, the learning curve will be always there. I would say learning the business processes, it will be always there, right? But when it comes to dispatching side of it, it's easy. So we just combine these two, dispatching side of it and the business aspect of it. So we just combined. Okay, so I hope this helps. So let me see. Jack says, thanks for answering. Absolutely. In case of choosing between one load, 2,000 miles trip, okay? So let's say from Atlanta to Los Angeles, it's about 2,500, but let's say it's 2,000. Trips is $6 to $7, dollars, or 4 different loads for 6-7. Okay, so which option you prefer more? Partial loads, that's what I prefer. And inside our community, as always, push my students and our members, you guys need to be inside the market, which is partial loads. But if you have a contract or you help your carriers get contract rates, then maybe full loads will help you. But if you really wanted to survive, then partial loads, definitely. So let's say carrier doesn't care if this one trip. Yeah, absolutely. If your carrier doesn't care about how many pickups and how many drop offs, then definitely the partial loads or less than truckload. So hope this helps. Okay. So I'm going one by one. Okay. So it says, "Hello, sir. I wanted to register my own truck dispatching company in New York." Okay. If you know about any trusted agent to register my company, so please give me a contact number or email address. Yeah. We mentioned this already. They're registered agent company we recommend for our students. It's Northwest registered agent. Please look them up. It's registered agent, Northwest registered agent. They'll help you with this. So Crown Movie Trailer says, "Thanks for this knowledge." You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. So let's take this question. Akbar says, "Thank you for your questions, Akbar. So you're active. I have one question. So, what kind of a book you recommend to read to become a truck dispatcher or online training?" Well, as far as books, I don't think they're like specifically books about truck dispatcher. As I said, dispatching side of it is very easy. I don't think it's um, book will help you, but as far as training goes, do your own research. Use Google, maybe YouTube, and there are a lot of people offering. We do offer, we have the program. It's up level dispatching. So if you really wanted to like look for others, do your research online, and then there are a ton of people. But as I said, be careful when it comes to enrolling into the programs. There information side of it, and there is implementation side of it. What I see, about 95% of those who offering the dispatching training or courses, it's just an information, right? You need implementation, like hands-on implementation with your mentor, with your coach, and there must be ongoing Q&A calls or sessions where you can join with other independent freight dispatchers, and your coach is there, mentor is there, and then you ask questions directly. So I highly recommend that. So okay, let me see what we have. So Lee has a question. What's your terms and way of being paid by the carriers, or flat fee? Immediate or 30 days? Do you use services like Clever or credit card payments? Some from ACH transfer. Okay, we do have, as far as third-party banks, I would say, to make this simple, which is factoring company. We use factoring company, and we teach this inside the course that we money, like in transportation, it's a capital intensive business, and you need money like yesterday. We can't wait. Or any carriers, like ask any carriers, they can't wait 30 days. Well, I would say, if there's a carrier, that really good on, cash flow, really good positive cash flow, they can wait on 30 days. And usually those carriers are the who work directly with, direct shippers, right? And then they can wait. So, as far as being paid by the carrier, meaning we have the independent freight dispatching side of the business. We have, like, as far as percentage goes, we have carriers or owner operators where we charge anything from 8% up to 25%, right? It's different. Your business could be different. For example, carrier A's business will be different than carrier B business. For example, there's a huge difference between 4 truck carrier and then 26 maybe, or 36 trucks carrier. There's difference. And independent freight dispatchers, they are management/consulting business, right? They're not just offering their dispatching services. There are other services that attach to dispatching services, and because of this, you have the ability to charge more, right? So your carrier will be deciding, okay, I need this service, that service, but I don't need this service, for example. And then based on that, you are just giving the quote for your carrier. So hope this helps. Okay. Akbar says, "Thank you for the information." Absolutely. So Dave says, "Thank you, Kamal, for answering." Absolutely. Let's say I become a pro dispatcher. Okay. How am I going to get clients? when small fleet owners, also big companies, try to give new old drivers lease contracts and they stuck in. We talk, Dave, think about, we're talking about, let's keep it simple and say $800 billion industry. Obviously there will be carriers that they're really struggling. There are carriers that they don't need any independent freight dispatchers, be it pro or just beginner, right? Everything boils down to marketing. So how you get clients is basically that you have two ways of acquiring customers. In any business acquiring customer, there's like organic outreach, or is the, I would say, free versions, let's say, free way of acquiring customers. We can go on and on about, talking about this, like using social media, leveraging groups, DAT tools, and, those kind of things. But you have this option, which is paid advertising, like social media, leveraging social media, which is Facebook. And obviously, when we think about Facebook, then you must create system in order to acquire these carriers. Like, think about, you have a carrier right in front of you, right? So what would be the onboarding process? Like, what's the promise, right? So you need to tell me, like, I have 4 trucks and obviously I need let's say independent freight dispatchers. Like, what would be the onboarding process? If I say just yes to you right now, how you handle this, right? You need to think about this before acquiring customer. Meaning, if you have created a system, acquiring those customers will be easy. You need to think about systems. If you don't have systems, then if you have a ton of carriers, then it's not going to work, because you can't deliver the logistics problems, meaning delivering your services. And we talk about inside the program about funnels, using, like, leveraging the email marketing, social media marketing. There are ton of ways that you can acquire customers. You don't need to be pro dispatcher, but it helps being a pro. So let's see. Okay, Crown movie trailers. I would be glad if you can help with a resource like videos on how I can get truck owner or carrier to seal a deal with. Okay, so basically, so what you're trying to say is that how can acquire a customer. And again, right, I don't know your level of, let's say, your experience. There, I have a couple of videos in this channel, how to acquire customers. Please watch those videos and leverage these videos that I have in this channel. There are a ton of content here. It's amazing. Just go through them. I can just give you the idea, but those videos will just walk you through how you can acquire those customers. And I have a video how you can leverage the DAT directory tool inside the load board, how you can contact with the carriers that way. So hope this helps. Let's see what we have as far as time goes. Okay, so we have another question. What are your thoughts, let's say, on power only? Well, it's another business model. Obviously, you can do this, and I think with the power only, you can use Amazon Rely. I think that would be. I don't use Amazon, but that will be an option. Business model. Just have your trucks or truck, and then work with Amazon. This is what I see. It's booming right now as far as power only. But you have this option searching inside the load boards, where you can just search for power only loads as well. So, Lee, another question. Okay, another advantage to having a dispatcher, it's a better use of time. Absolutely. A driver day is typical 14 hours minimum. Okay. Then you wanted to watch, okay, close, eat dinner, or take off. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And here's the thing. Drivers want to drive. That's what it is, and that is one thing. And again, the second thing is about communication, right? Think about this, you driving 14 hours, 11 hours, 16 hours, whatever. But, think about, you just driving, and you have a lot of work you need to do. Specifically, the flatbed market, there are a lot of, heavy work that drivers must do. And on top of that, you're saying that I must book my own loads. I rather prefer like paying other people so they can help me. And this is what we see. And I have a student, and we have this live Q&A call recorded. And I said, this student is a great example because he's an owner operator. He joined our program, and he said, Kamal, I purchased DAT Power about 6 months ago and I never used it. And why is that? And because, well, I was busy. Like, I'm still busy. I'm driving truck. I'm just but transitioning from being an owner operator and being an independent freight dispatcher, so I can offer my services to independent, owner operators and carriers. Think about, like, he had a subscription for about 6 months. He's paying $150 for DAT Power, and he's never used it. See, that is a sign. And then there are a lot of other owner operators, or I would say situations like this, because they need your help. Think about, don't eliminate yourself. Don't think that those people don't need me. Those people don't need my services. You leaving a lot of money on the table. So if you're just saying that, if you just cutting yourself short, saying that, hey, I can't do this, there are already a lot of people out there. No, we're talking about $700 billion industry. So please think positive. So let me come back and see what are the questions we have. Okay, Nur Haji says, I have 2 questions. For example, if I was trained, okay, and I got a job, I started working with one truck for my first time, then what do I deal for the first step? How can I negotiate with brokers? I just explained about like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, how you can negotiate with brokers. And obviously, when you're starting out, you'll be using script, and nothing wrong with this. And my students, they have a script, and how you can close a deal with brokers. And there may be professional, let's say, brokers or dispatchers, maybe inside this live Q&A call watching right now, saying, oh, come on, what are you talking about? They're like, time, it's everything. When you call, yeah, you can close a deal within a couple of seconds, right? It's all about like techniques. It's all about like tactics. So yes, this broker, like, conversation should go really fast. We're not even greeting our brokers. Hey, Mike, or like, hey, I have this, I see this load, coming out from Atlanta, Georgia, goes to Houston, Texas. Boom, conversation started. And then using tactics to close the deal with the brokers. So let's see what else. Lee says, another advantage. Well, I think we covered this already. Yes. Okay. So it's so convenient to have someone already have your next load ready before you have even delivered. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Dave, thanks again. You're welcome. Our overseas dispatchers, our competitors. From our experience, does drivers prefer USA best dispatchers? I'm in New York trying to figure out, is it still worth it to take a 5-week class? Okay, let me start with the 5-week class, and then we'll go to competition. 5-week program, it's not actually you're doing like you're going over the course. It's 5 week. You can complete within a week. But what we recommend is that going over the training a couple of times, because it starts really basic and then it goes like really complicated and advanced, right? And then you need at least maybe 1 to 2 weeks so that we can have Q&A calls going on, so that you will have questions, and you will just get stuck. Hey, Kamal, I have this funnel thing. I'm putting my marketing together, like I'm kind of stuck. So this is why we just called 5-week program, because what we see is that most of our students did get up and running within 5 weeks. So that is the sweet spot, and this is why we called our program. It's a 5-week program, but training can be done within a week. So the competition is actually good, right? If there's no competition, I don't go there, be honest with you. So use that as a fuel, for example, so that it can push you. Like, use this as a motivation. right? So the competition makes your product or services perfect. Think about it. You always want it to be better than other person. Like I'll like total, transparency here. Like I have, competition inside like training, for example, independent freight dispatching. There's some, other people offering this, services already, but I must be better than them, for example, and they actually thinking this way too, most of them, that hey, I want to be better than this company and then get, customers. Competition makes our services perfect, and obviously the end user gets the benefit, and this is the game, right? This is the name of the game. Customers needs to be satisfied with your services, so competition always will be there. So let me see what we have. Okay, so thanks for the knowledge bumps, Kamal. You're welcome. Absolutely. So we're planning to do about two, sessions per week. So we're still on the, testing mode, I would say. We're trying to see, okay, how these sessions will go. So if there's like if there's a lot of questions, and we see, people asking a lot of questions, and again, that's the name, right? It's live Q&A session. So if there are questions, then we'll stick around, and then we'll be giving you the responses for the questions. Okay, sort of I would left because, okay, please, can you talk on how we still deal with truck owners or carriers, and what are the documents needed? Oh, okay. So when you have, let's say you did your marketing, for example, and you have a carrier, and now you're onboarding, for example, sealing the deal. Obviously, we have this inside the course. We have the ultimate conversion script, and we made thousands of calls, and based on that, we perfected it. The script. Obviously, you need a script when you sealing the deal, because I see most people using logic to close the deals. But think about, we buy based on our emotions, and we justify with our logic, right? Or with logic. So you need a script that designed around this concept of knowing that carriers, meaning your clients or customers, they will be buying your services based on emotions. I'll give you an example. So, and I'll come back to what are the documents are used. Think about logical question will be something like, let's say we have this conversation and we're closing the deal, for example. You will ask questions like, how many trucks you have? That's a logical question. And I can say 4 trucks, for example. Okay, so how many dispatchers you have? I would say, 2, 4, 6, whatever. That, it's an example of a logical questions, but think of the emotional side of it, right? When you say, Kamal, so I see you have 4 trucks and you want to grow this business, I don't know, maybe into million or 2 million or $10 million business. Like, why you want to do this? Like, what's the motivation behind this? See, now when you ask this question, everything changes, right? So if you have a carrier on a Zoom call, on a phone call, right? So if he did it correctly, that means he took already many steps, or took actions to be on the phone with you. That means he already sold, right? So yeah, that is the proof that this carrier needs your services. So, and this is why you need a script so that you can seal the deal, right? Documents, what we provide for our students, there are 4 documents, right? But I will talk about this because it's the main one and relates to your question, which is dispatcher carrier agreement. You as a company, as an independent freight dispatcher, will be working with carriers. And remember, we as an independent freight dispatchers, we represent only carriers. We cannot, it's illegal to represent a shipper saying, hey, acting like a broker, right? So it's illegal, we can't do that, right? Saying, hey, shipper, we have carriers. I have network of carriers. Let's, do the business to simplify the process, right? No, it's illegal. Broker, on the other hand, can represent both shippers and carriers. We, as an independent freight dispatcher, would just only focus on carriers. So this is why we need dispatcher carrier agreement. So let's see if we have more questions. Okay, Darley, Robert says, hey Kamal, hi. I'm living in Canada. Okay, I have 2 box trucks now. Okay, awesome. And I really like to dispatch. Okay, start dispatching my own trucks. Then, okay, okay, what's training to apply in Canada? How is the training applied to Canada? Well, being an independent freight dispatcher, as name implies, being an independent, you basically need phone, internet, and computer. That's what you need to start a business, obviously. And if you're thinking like setting up your business that you are non-US resident and you're in Canada, but you want to start your business in the United States, this is what I teach, right? Then you will have a registered agent that accompanies. Think about I mentioned this name, which is Northwest registered, agent. Think about that as a company. Maybe but for our subscribers and the people in the live right now, we'll just say it's a company basically. It's like your hands, right, in the United States. They're saying, hey, you can be anywhere around the world. Like I'm in the US. Okay, just pay me and I will just create your LLC, and then you can operate your business anywhere around the world. Now people will think, well, that sounds really easy, but why United States will give this opportunity for everybody? Well, for tax purposes, right? It's an additional, let's say, call it revenue for United States, for this country. Think about you bringing in more jobs to this country. See, now because you will have a US based company, you will be paying taxes here in the United States, right? So think about that way. And obviously you can be anywhere. You can be in Canada, you can be in Europe, anywhere, and you can operate US based business. So let's see. Okay, Lee has a question. I drove. Okay, as far as finding carriers, everyday FMCSA, okay, approves new carriers. Okay, new MC numbers, yes, and they post a list. Yes, many are need to make money soon. They're eager to have someone to help them. Yes, that is another reason. And again, this is the advantage, obviously, but disadvantage is that you have these carriers and they have new MC number, and not many brokers work with new MC numbers. That is a disadvantage. But when I started, when I was starting out, I had new MC, brand new MC number. Yeah, I called maybe 40, 50, 60 calls in a day. People will just say, hey, you have a new MC number. But then people will just say, yeah, okay. They're, brokers, they will say yes to you. There are some, brokers out there, they work with new MC numbers. It's just starting. That is the disadvantage, which is new MC numbers. Finding load will be like not easy, but obviously they really wanted to make money fast, and then they will be acquiring or working with or teaming up with independent freight dispatchers. Another thing is the conversation. I mean, the communication part of it. It's really important because not many people or carriers, they're willing to talk to brokers, for example, and they really prefer independent freight dispatch. Hey, you know how to communicate, this process, I just rely on you, and here's your cut, for example, whatever the percentage is. Yeah, simple as that, right? Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Lee. Point. So Dave says, can you explain us how many driver is recommended to be attached to a dispatch? Can you explain us how many drivers, let's say, are recommended to attach to one dispatcher? Okay, so I think in other words, what you're saying is that, Kamal, one dispatcher, how many trucks can dispatch one, a dispatcher? And obviously, again, you're thinking as a truck dispatcher, for example, right? So if you have a team, if you're an independent freight dispatcher, that is, total different case. But if you're a truck dispatcher, when you're starting out, you don't have any, team members. You just, one man show, let's say that way. And then you can dispatch up to 6 trucks with, easily. When it gets about like maybe 10 trucks, then it's really hard to do it. But easily between 4 and 6 trucks, I would say that is the sweet spot. You can do that with no problem. So Okay, and Donald says, "Thank you so much, Kamal. You're welcome. I'm going to move forward with your training." Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, I'm not pitching the training. Please, I'm doing my best to help, and support you guys since you are part of this community, and I really feel obligated. I think it's the power of reciprocity. So, you guys subscribed, you guys part of this, and then I'll do my best to support you and help you guys. No problem. So, okay, let's see. Sadiq John says, I have a knowledge about trucking. I know how safety works in this sphere. Okay, I'm in Tashkent now, and Tashkent it's a beautiful city in Uzbekistan. I want to start to work as an independent dispatcher. Tell me, please, what should I start this process with? Yeah, absolutely. Sadiq Jan, here's the thing. You must have, and again, I will just, when we post this live Q&A call, is that you can watch in details, and then I have, interview with one of my students. His name is Alan. He's in Bosnia. So he created his business in Florida while he is in Bosnia. So he uses what we call is the, third party company is the Northwest registered agent. And again, they're not the only one Northwest registered agent. There are a ton of them, online. You can search for registered agent. So you'll be, dispatching trucks, in your country, dispatching US trucks, but you must have a US based company. So that is the process. So you must have a registered agent. This is how you start. You create your LLC and obviously start, marketing to acquire a customer, and obviously at the end do business with the carriers. So, okay, let's see. Thanks for your knowledge once again. You're welcome. How do you search for truck owners or carriers? Do work with, where is the best place to go when look for truck owners to work with? Okay, and again, so here's the thing. The organic outreach, it's basically acquiring customers for free, right? So it's an organic. There are some tactics, and I teach, ins and outs of this organic outreach, how to acquire a customer using social media. But using social media, you can use social media, for example, Facebook. You can use paid ads, creating ads, and then attract, carriers. Basically, you'll be running ads to people, carriers. Like, I'm in Facebook, I'm a carrier, and then the thousands of, like, millions of other carriers, let's say, they are using social media. I would say most of them, and then they're online, for example. And then your ad just display on their feed, and then we'll say, hey, I'm just simplifying the process, saying that, hey, I'm independent freight dispatcher. You have add a copy, and then just they click, and then they land on your website, and then you convert them. Like, this is like 30,000 foot overview, for example, right? So we see this. It's like a bigger picture. Now the organic outreach, now what's working is that you engage conversation that's already happening. Think about, carriers right now, they're joining, groups, Facebook groups, right? It's huge right now. And then there will be people searching for help, right? So now maybe you are a prospective, let's say, or future independent freight dispatcher. Now you are on the internet searching for help, for example, asking, you're engaging the conversation that are already happening. Same thing, there will be groups that people will be, carriers will be engaging the conversation, asking questions. They may be, they need help. And a lot of my students, they get carriers that way because it's easy and it's free when you're starting out, right? So you just start the conversation and then ask the permission to engage the conversation more, and then take them to a Zoom call, and then use the if you are a student, then you will be using the ultimate conversion script. If you don't have a script, then you create a script and then close the deal with the carrier. So this is how it works. So another resource is that if you have the online subscription, DAT Power and Truckers Edge Pro, they have a tool which is DAT Directory. Think about carriers, they use tools. Tools meaning one of them is like the most popular one, load boards, right? And DAT, solutions as a company, they own the database because they're using the load board, and they're providing this to, the data, meaning carriers, to brokers, shippers, and independent freight dispatchers saying, hey, you can partner with these carriers. Why? Why is that? Why DAT Solution, does this? Because their customer, I mean DAT Solutions customer, who? Carriers. They DAT Solutions, they really wanted to, like, carriers make money, right? If they make money, then they will pay their subscription. It's a win-win situation. Now they're giving that information to you so that you can contact with carriers, so you can help this carrier help money so that this carrier can pay his bills. That's simple way of explaining this. And this is why you have these resources that you can leverage, like today. You will have the carrier email address, phone number, office, everything that you need, for example. And then you start engaging the conversation. I would say start your marketing. I don't know your marketing strategies, but this is how it works. So okay, Dread says thanks again. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is another question. When will be the next session? I wanted to be here. Absolutely. So we still, as I said, it's like testing, mode right now. So we're just testing things around. But we're planning to do 2 weeks. But my team members pushing me to do it like one time. I would say once per week because we have a lot of Q&A sessions with our students. So I'm thinking maybe Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays, but there's no set time right now. But next week, I think we'll announce the set times for the live sessions. So, okay, let's see. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, it's called MC Register. Okay, let me take this. Dredge says, I'm starting out as a new dispatcher. Where can I hire someone to make cold calls and it won't be expensive? Okay. Well, when you're starting out, I highly recommend doing the cold call yourself, right? There are no excuses, be honest with you. Like, you will care about your business like nobody will care about your business. This is why I'm saying this. I have this firsthand experience. Do cold calling yourself. Then you can hire. Obviously, where you can find social media, join Facebook groups. There are a lot of people searching for jobs and joining the teams and companies. Yeah, absolutely. If you can join, for example, you can search for closers. I think I can't remember the Facebook group. They're about 100,000, I think, members. They're all about like sales calls. There are a lot of people there looking for the jobs, for example, work for a company so that they can get paid. So okay, so what percentage should we charge when starting out? When starting out as an independent freight dispatcher, if you are just offering dispatching side of it, right? You're not managing, the businesses, for example. So you're just saying, hey, I can help you finding a load, booking a load, meaning talking to brokers, negotiate. I will help you with negotiations, and they're actually dispatching. I can, dispatch loads to your drivers. So these are the three components, right? It's just what we call is just dispatching. So if you're just doing this, nothing else, and you're using your own load board, you're not leveraging my load board subscription, you have your own, then when you're starting out, you can do anywhere between 6% up to 10%, right? And again, this pricing point, we have a lot of, like, I had a lot of coaches, and then I have read a lot of books as far as pricing is crucial when it comes to your business. Don't underestimate your services, right? Don't compete with other people if they're charging 2%, 3%, 5%. No, your percentage should say, well, it actually says almost everything about your business. When you charge, let's say you charge about 15%, and their independent freight dispatcher charges 5%. Like, I can instantly say that if you're charging 15%, I don't know anything about your business, But subconsciously or consciously, I can start thinking that you have experience because you know what you're doing. This is why you're charging more, right? We it happens to us, right? It's subconscious. So think about in Amazon. When you go Amazon, you're trying to find a product, and what happens? Let's be honest. You see that there a couple of let's say product A, product N, and they're like seller A, seller B, seller C, and then they're competing with price. And then there may be microphone, for example. A seller A sells for $150, and then seller B sells maybe for $130 or for $129 or something like that. You instantly more attracted to higher price point. Why? Because price dictates professionalism. More, I would say, it says something about your business that you're a pro, right? So this what happens. So they must be offering better products or services than this company, which is they're charging 5%. Obviously, and I see a lot of in our community, a lot of people, they don't go after 5%, 2%. What I see, about 99% of the time, they go for higher price. That's what's happening. And you don't have this information, and you're thinking that if you undercut myself and then charge maybe 3-4%, I mean 3-4% or 5%, then carriers will be working with me. No, it's vice versa. If you're charging more, then people will start working with you. So I had this podcast I was listening, and then there's like company offering website services for $20,000, and then there's a huge company, and it says, well, it's just $20,000 building the website. And is it the company, the agency says yes, it's just $20,000, and then there's a lot of work involved, and he was trying to convince this company, which is huge, and then the company just says no, we're not interested. And this company, the agency, thought that I was charging too much, and then he started charging 5,000, and then these guys laughed at him. Why? Because they closed another deal for 200,000. Now see that there is a power when it comes to pricing, right? So this company obviously prefer working with professionals, right? With developers, rather than paying 20,000. I can pay 200,000 because I can, because of this company, and that's what it is, and it works. So pricing is really, it's huge. So do your own research, but I would say when you're starting out, it's basically, if you're just doing dispatching, anywhere it can start between 6 to 10%. I would recommend starting with 10%. So, okay, Dave says, "Where is your company located?" I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia. I have a couple of companies. I have overseas companies. I have 2 companies in Ohio. I have 3 companies registered in the Atlanta. So I do, do you offer virtual classes or in person? We used to do in person because of the COVID. Obviously, we don't do anymore. But virtual classes, yeah, we do have, the up-level dispatching program. It's a 5-week program for independent freight dispatches, basically A to Z. And we have, it's a virtual class. And then we have Zoom meetings every Mondays and Thursdays. Absolutely. So, okay, guys, maybe I'm skipping the questions because we have a lot of questions, and I opened these slides to share with you, but you guys have a lot of questions. So let me see as far as time goes. So we'll have another 15 minutes, and then we'll end 6:30 because I'm Eastern time. Let's see. Let's have this. What are some good books to read, and what is the good workflow for the day? Okay, I'm a stay-at-home mom and homeschooler, and I wanted to be efficient. Okay, to be honest with you, I don't know like specifically, books when it comes to independent freight dispatch. Maybe you can search on Amazon. Maybe you can just put, keywords like independent freight dispatching or just truck dispatcher. Maybe there's some books. I don't know. I don't know there's specific, books, because dispatching side of this business, it's very easy, and you can obviously read a book about this, but watching YouTube videos will help you a lot. Then the business side of it, this is where you have to spend a lot of your time learning the business practices, the business laws, the systems, and creating systems and integrations and tools and etc. That is the most important part. But be honest with you, I don't have any recommendations as far as the books go. As far as workflow, as when you're starting out as an independent freight dispatcher, obviously dispatching side of it, it starts with the computer, with the internet connection, obviously, and then you have phone, and you have a carrier. Let's say, let's say you have a couple of trucks. Maybe let's say you have 5 trucks, and start your day by planning and start calling brokers, logging into load boards, and start booking loads. That's how it goes. The workflow, if you work for a company, and obviously your employer will dictate the times, but when you do when you have your up and running business, then when ends dispatching side of your business, then you must work on your business, right? So it's not about just dispatching all day long, but then you must establish this business and grow, and then obviously have up and running business with team members. So that is that. Hope this helps, but again, there's no book recommendations. Okay, so please make a YouTube video about marketing in general, or knowledge about marketing is amazing. Yeah, marketing is everything. You can be number one world class pro dispatcher. If nobody knows about you, then who cares, right? So I'm a dispatcher, so maybe I have a lot of knowledge in trucking. But if I don't have a YouTube channel, or if I don't have groups, which I do have Facebook groups, then who cares, right? Kamal basically don't exist for those people. So this is a way of marketing. So I'm creating content for people that, hey, I have this knowledge. If you want to join me, then you can join me. Obviously, at the same time, I'm providing value to the people that want to join me, for example. Okay, let's see. Okay, Nur Haji says, how can I prepare paperwork? So paperwork, I'm assuming you're saying, Kamal, I book a load, then what will happen? What's the paperwork process? Because getting paid is a different, but and again, this is not a specific question, but paperwork as like meaning offering your paperwork services to carriers, or I'll just assume that you're saying, Kamal, when I book a call, I mean book the freight, what happens next? What will happen next is that when you book a load with the broker, then the broker will be sending something called rate confirmation. It's a document, right? Then you will receive a rate confirmation. Then you will share this rate confirmation with a driver. Then driver picks up this load, and then he delivers. Then he sends you the driver sends you the POD, which is proof of delivery. And then you take that proof of delivery and rate confirmation, uploading it into the factoring company if your carrier uses factoring company, and then factoring company takes care of the rest. That is the paperwork process. So let's see. Okay, Bharat says, I'm in Canada. Okay, just incorporate a company and looking for trucks to dispatch. Can I have access to DAT through your company? You don't need to access through my company. Well, you have your own company, and then you have a free trial. So there are links below this video. You just click that link. So DAT, if you're looking for a DAT Power, which is more advanced tool, then you will be calling in the DAT Power, and then they will be helping out with getting the subscription. But you must have your LLC, and then there's no so you have your own company. As you say, you just incorporate it, then you can just use your own company. So okay, Dave says, can you please mention some important software to use as a dispatcher? Okay, yeah, sure, absolutely. We have ITS Dispatch, we have Dr. Dispatch software, and again, I'm taking this as in general because you said use as a dispatcher. So there will be QuickBooks. You'll be using Stripe for accepting payments. You'll be using PayPal. Load Board is the biggest one. That's it basically when you're starting out. And tools like softwares like Excel spreadsheet, when you're starting out, you don't need to pay for fancy tools. then you can start this way, and then obviously you can purchase the subscriptions. Okay, let's see. Okay, for Justice says, I live in Dubai. Okay, and can I work remotely as a dispatcher for US companies? Absolutely. Maybe just join. We cover this, how you can offer your dispatching services to US based tracking companies. And then their videos in this channel goes in detail about this, how you can do this. And obviously you need an LLC, and because of this you need a registered agent. And what we recommend the company to work with is the Northwest registered agent. So, okay. So we have about 8 minutes. Okay, let's take the question. I would need to have a company in US for DAT. Yeah, you must have, it must be US based company. And this is why. If you're in Canada, then we'll be using registered agent so that you can create a business in the US. Yeah, and then you can access the DAT. So, okay, Elier says, hi Kamal, I'm in the, okay, can I set up my independent dispatch service company in US? Yes, absolutely you can. Or if I set up in my country, can I operate in US? Thank you for your response. Yeah, absolutely. You can be, I just answered this question, I think, right? So you can be any part of the world and you can, dispatch trucks, US based trucking companies. Yeah, there's no problem with that. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, let's take this. DAT does not accept Canadian company for subscription, but maybe I can be added as a user in your company. I have, students, um, uh, y- you know, in Canada, and they have no problem with this, subscription. But I don't know if you, maybe you have a Canadian company, right? So you are a Canadian company, but obviously this is what I know from my students, that you are a Canadian company. Then obviously you won't. Why is that? I think you guys have your own load board, which is SafeLink, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually partnered with DAT, so you can leverage that. But the reason maybe why not use the SafeLink, I can't remember, maybe that is the name, is because it's expensive, right? I think it's about $400 or $500. It's insane. It's expensive. So this is why you must create a US based company so you can access the DAT. So, well, we don't have any more questions. I think that's it. Please, guys, let me know if you have any questions. So I will just quickly go over this because I already started. Then people started joining and asking questions. But this is how the independent freight dispatchers get paid. Let's quickly talk about this. Let me pull this. Let me know if you can guys see this, how dispatchers get paid. We talked about this, the differences between truck dispatcher and independent freight dispatcher. One of them is employment business model, the employment model, and the other one is the business model. So as an independent freight dispatcher, obviously you have two options. So let's call it ABC Dispatching as a dispatching company. You'll be using a QuickBooks. It's a financial tool for your business, and you will be storing all of your payment information or bank information inside the QuickBooks, because it is a financial tool for your business. Then you will have ABC Trucking, and then they will be using their own QuickBooks. They will have their own account, and then they will have their bank information or credit card information stored inside the QuickBooks. So these are the steps. ABC Dispatching creates and sends an invoice to carrier using the QuickBooks, right? Carrier receives the invoice via email and pays the invoice, right? Everything happening through this software, which is QuickBooks. ABC Dispatching receives an email notification that the invoice was cleared, and paid. The second option is, this is the most popular one, is the using what we call third party, the company, which is the factoring company, which is think about middle bank company between brokers and carriers and dispatchers. So you get your rate confirmation and POD, you upload to factoring company, then factoring company will deduct 10%, right? Let's call it 10% for simplicity. And here are the steps. ABC Dispatching receives and uploads rate confirmation and POD using Katie's factoring company, right? Let's say total is $10,000 invoice. Then factoring company processes the paperwork, right? Factoring then deducts ABC Dispatching's earnings, which is 10% from the gross, and does the ACH, meaning deposits into your 10%, which is $1,000 deposit into your bank account. So factoring then deposits the rest of the money, which is $9,000, goes to Katie's bank account, right? And note, I have this note here, is that with this option, you as an independent fleet dispatcher, your deposit is guaranteed, it's secure. Why? Because the factoring company says that, hey, this company did a work for you, so we deduct 10%, then what's left is yours, right? Now you have 100%. Now you're sure that money will be coming in. So let me stop the sharing and see if we have more questions. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Thank you for the information. Okay, you're welcome. I'll take this question real quick. Do you have to know roads and highways to become a dispatcher? You don't. You'll be using Google Maps basically. I would recommend having like 2 monitors. I have a couple of monitors here, but you will have 2 monitors and then one for load board and the other one when you're starting out. It's easy. The Google Map, right? And then basically you put destination. For example, you have load coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, but put Atlanta, Georgia, and then destination is Houston, Texas, and then you will have this trip, and then you just learn from that way. And I can say within a week, within 2 weeks, then you will feel comfortable. And if you just that first booking is actually, this is the hardest part, right? You have a lot of questions in mind. If just mess this up, and you're thinking a lot of negative things, but your first load and the second and third, and then it gets easy. And give it a take is about 2 weeks into the business, and you will feel very comfortable. Okay, so Nur Haji says, thank you, Kamal, for your time. You're welcome, and really appreciate you the way answering the questions. Absolutely, I'm satisfied with all of your answers. Great, awesome. So then is job is complete, or objective is complete then. Okay, so I would say thank you so much for your questions, guys. I really enjoyed, and I'm really enjoying engaging with the subscribers, and doing this Q&A sessions. And as I said, we'll be doing twice a week. Tuesdays and Fridays, but we don't have a set time, but we'll come back to it. If you really want to join the up level, dispatching, there will be links below. If you have any questions, email us. It's info@dispatchtrucks.com, and we'll go from there. And until then, stay safe. Bye now.